Hello everyone, welcome back to Chaitanya. I'm your host Chaitanya, and today we have a very special guest with us. He's a data consultant at Microsoft, a company we all know and admire. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Rohan. Hi Rohan, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Hey, hi Chaitanya. It's great to be here. I'm really glad that we get to do this podcast, and I'm excited for the rest of the sessions.
Rohan, let's start with our first thing. Can you please introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell us a bit about your background and what you are currently doing at Microsoft.
A bit about me. My name is Rohan. I have been a data consultant for the past 6 years. I worked in a various organization, and my career started in 2019 when I joined Tata Consultancy Services as a system engineer. Where there I worked for almost 2.5 years. And from TCS, I moved to Deloitte. From Deloitte to Tiger Analytics, and from there to a company which is a database partner company called Quintic. And right now, I'm at Microsoft as a data and AI consultant for the past 6 months. And yeah, it's been going great. Lots of things. This AI era is just buzzing up, and so many things to learn, so many works to explore, so many data domains to work on. And yeah, so far, so good.
Rohan, that's wonderful. Thank you. It's always inspires to hear about people's journey. Now, let's talk a little bit about your job role. What does a data consultant actually do? And how is it different from other job roles in data field?
Well, yes. In Microsoft, there are actually different fields of software engineering. So, as a consultant, where you don't directly work on the Microsoft's product, you rather onboard the clients into Microsoft product and solve the client side problems. And whereas a data engineer who is working in the Microsoft, they are the ones that directly work into the Microsoft product or the sub products that the Microsoft presents. So that's the basic differences. So one side where I am as a consultant, I'm solving the client, any of the Microsoft's client or any of the companies that I work for as a consulting partner, and an engineer in a Microsoft who works in a Microsoft product. I hope that makes it clear.
That gives us a much clear picture, I can say. Thank you for the explaining that, Rohan. Rohan, now let's move on the part that many of our listeners are eager to hear about your interview journey at Microsoft. Can you briefly walk us through your overall interview experience?
Well, yes, I think it's been a year I interviewed at Microsoft. So it's pretty basic. I have applied quite so many times at Microsoft or any other companies that I don't remember. But yeah, there is one time the interviewer approached me, and it's 3 rounds of interview, out of which 2 are technical and one is the techno managerial. So in technical, it basically covers the fundamentals based on your experience. Right, that time I had around 5 years of experience, and it covers the fundamentals question. It walks through me the previous projects that I worked on. It tried to understand that how strong you are at the data background, and that's pretty much of it. But the difficult part of the consulting here in consulting, if I be safe, for me, the difficult part is the techno manager round, where the senior directors, the manager will take your interview. They will walk you through a various project-based scenarios where you have given a situation. How do you deal with it? How do you deal this with the client? How do you negotiate with the architect? How you provide the solution? Those are the kind of questions one can expect when this final round comes in. But yeah, that's the my own what I can say in summarize my interview experience there.
Rohan, it sounds like a detailed process and good number of rounds. So, Rohan, the next question is that like about your questions or the problem statement. Can you share some of your key problems or questions you were asked? Were there any tricky or unique question that stood out to you?
Well, so the questions basically covered around, if I say, the brute force approach and then the optimized approach. Not even it's not like the DS around that one is facing. It's more into the to understand. Let's say let's if I cover a SQL perspective, right? So in the SQL perspective, you see you have given a simple SQL statement that you have to cover it up, and then the interviewer might ask you the questions like, what is the other way you can take in, or if there isn't a better way to approach these solutions. So it's the way you think, the way so when you read the question out loud, when you see the data, right, and you have to, so your data set is A, you have to manipulate it to B. Now it's the art of thinking that how you visualize the data from point A to point B and what are the steps needs to be taken from. This is one which should think instead of just jumping into the query, writing the solution. So it's the art of thinking they look into. Not anything tricky that I can remember out because it's pretty straightforward, but it stands into the depth of your knowledge, the depth of your understanding of the question and the approach of your solution. That matters the most into the interview, especially in the companies like this, Microsoft or any other fan companies you take into.
Yes, Rohan, those sounds like an interesting problem. Now let's talk about your preparation for them. How did you prepare for this interview? Where there is specific platform, books or resources you use, and that helped a lot to you.
So As a data engineer, I would really suggest there are two books which covers the fundamentals of data engineering and the fundamentals of Spark. I think this is from the O'Reilly publishers. So one is called obviously the fundamentals of data engineering. That is the must-read book. It's for me, it's kind of a bible for the data engineers and someone who try to understand the Spark from the very basic. Again, Spark from I think Spark for Beginners. That's the name of the book. Again, it's part of the O'Reilly publishers and it's written by one of the co-founders of Spark. And yeah, that's pretty much of it. Now coming to the preparation part. Okay, for me, those are the books I've always read through whenever I work on my organizations, when I have to solve the problem. Of course, there is Googling, there is Stack Overflow, and right now this generative AI, right? Pretty much people, whenever the problem they see, they jump into the AI, they try to understand the solutions and try to draw the solutions out of it. Oh, that is a very interesting thing you can do, right? So if you are preparing for interview, if you know what is the rules you're going to face, for me, what I've done, I have used a chat GPT kind of a tool, any AI tool. I put down this is the job role going to be and what are the questions I can expect out of the job role, and I prepared according to it. I think the most important thing here is keeping the fundamentals clear. So no matter how well you do, you write a SQL query or you do coding, if your fundamentals are not clear, it makes the interviewer understand that you are pretty much just savoring whatever comes to you, right? You're just trying to remember things instead of trying to design it. Again, designing is a very important part in when it comes to the data engineering, right? There's a high level and low level design you have to look into, because in the higher rounds those kind of questions get asked. So try to start with the fundamentals, then go through the designing, and then try to work on a project. So that is the best way to learn it. Do a hands-on project. You can use any other platform. You can see on YouTube, you can see on Udemy. For me personally, I have done projects that is available in Udemy, especially for the Databricks or the Azure data engineering, and that helped me a lot to get into this domain, to get my basics clear, to get my hands-on tools very well. So yeah, that's the preparation I have done, and I'll suggest other folks to do as well.
Yeah, one that's a really helpful advice I can say. Rohan, now let's talk about your resume. Projects are often the key to get noticed. What projects did you highlighted in your resume? Did interviewer ask questions about your project? If yes, which one?
So it's projects basically what you do, how you prepare your resume. So you start with a summary, you put your skills, then you put your work experience, right? For the experienced person, for freshers, this is different domains. So they put their personal projects or the college projects they have worked on. So when an interview occurs, especially the interview focuses on your previous project on the organizations that you worked on. So what I have done, so during my interview, so so interview asked me to draw the architecture of the entire project. So the part is I might not have worked on this end-to-end part of the process. I might be, so let's say if I have worked on a medallion architecture project. For those who doesn't understand the medallion architecture, so it's really a solution when it comes to the data engineering. So where there is bronze and the silver and gold layer is involved. So for me, I worked on the gold layer, but he tries to understand that whether I understand my entire project or not. So he'll expect me to draw a solution of this entire architecture and the experiment, walking through it. Although it is not in detail, but the high level walkthrough, that is what one interviewer can expect from you from your previous work that you have done. So that is a must go once you start preparing for such interviews. Do a better understanding of your resume, be strong to it, and whatever you have done, have at least the architectural level of understanding of the projects that you have executed previously.
Yeah, one projects are so important, and it's good to know which one to focus on. Rohan, now for something a little different. Everyone loves getting gifts and perks from big companies. What joining gifts or goodies did you get from Microsoft when you joined the company, and what perks or advantages do you get from Microsoft?
If I speak about goodies, it's not that much. You get this basic, the bottles, the pencils, and everything. The biggest perk of working in Microsoft. So see, I work from Microsoft Hyderabad. So for me, I find the biggest perk is the campus. It is one of the, I think this is the second largest campus of Microsoft in the world. Second to Redmond campus, which is in the United States, Seattle. So yeah, that's one thing. At the campus, everything you get there, you get games, you had free food, you have free chips and candies, and there is something always going on around the campus. There is hackathons, there are different events, you get to see everything. And other than that, so companies like this provide you such a excellent health benefits, that is a must go, and you get ESOPs. So yeah, these are the most important perks you can expect when you all join these kind of organizations. Yes, and this is what I get also.
That's really cool, Rohan. Now our final question, and maybe the most important one for our audience. Rohan, what advice would you give to someone preparing for an interview at Microsoft? Are there any tips or things to avoid based on your experience?
Well, yes, I'll go over the things to avoid first. So I would suggest to be true to your resume. Don't put anything that you haven't done, because that always portrays a negative impact. If you haven't done something and if you try to put it into it anyhow, anyway, just you're gobbling up the concepts and you just put it into your resume, that might help you get to the interview, but not able to crack it. So whatever you've done, keep it small, keep it crisp. Always follow the standardized procedure of preparing a resume, which will actually able to help you to get to the interview. So that is the first thing. That is the don't. So obviously, so don't lie in your resume. That's the don't. It's said for very first. And the second thing, well, be strong to the basics. I, as a data engineer, if I see what are the basics here, right? So you start with the RDBMS system, right? You try to understand the big data primary concepts. You understand what the computation, what the clusters are, right? And how a Spark job is executed. So those basics, keep it very clear. And as a data engineer, the most important thing for us whenever we face an interview, that is having a good understanding on a SQL and Python. You know these two tools, you have completed your base. So the SQL, Python, and the fundamentals of data engineering, these three are very important to keep your basics clear. And now the market is shifting towards AI as well. So most of us are trying to pivot to the AI engineering projects. Not at all, but it's depends on the customer requirement. So for me, I work on the customer side, so pretty much our organizations try to pivot whatever the customer requires, right? So giving a fundamentals of AI clean, having the fundamentals of AI is a plus one for you for sure. So these are the things, and keep your resume clean. Whatever you have done, stay true to it. Trying to showcase in a project that how your previous experience will impact your upcoming job, right? That is the one thing I can do. And yeah, that's all. Just work hard, and I'm pretty sure everybody able to take the interviews.
Yeah, Rohan, that's fantastic advice. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights with us. It was a pleasure having you on my show.
Thank you, Chetan. I'm glad to be here. Excellent. This is an excellent experience.
Yeah, and that's a wrap up for today's episode of Shaitan Data. A huge thank you to Rohan for joining us and sharing his valuable experience at Microsoft. To all our listeners, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.